Welcome back to OpenLine. We're talking about spring cleaning your health, everything from a nutrition makeover to an exercise makeover. We've had a call. We couldn't take it. I'm sorry, Sarah. We thank you for watching, but I'm told that your question was about the different labels of different diets. You got the paleo diet, you have going vegan. Her question was, what do these things mean? You have Atkins out there.
Yeah. I think, again, I'm not a big fan of any type of diet that is very restrictive. Paleo, for example, they don't allow dairy and they don't allow any types of grains or anything like that. And I think grains are super important, and a lot of people like gluten-free, and everybody's going gluten-free now, and I think that's definitely kind of a Hollywood thing, but gluten is not the enemy unless you are gluten intolerant. A lot of people will say I'm allergic to gluten. It's not really an allergy, it's an intolerance, and only like 1% of the population has the gluten intolerance. I think as long as you pick the right ones, it's great. You just need whole grains, because our brains run and our bodies run off of carbohydrates. So you just want to pick whole grains, whether it's whole grain pastas or whole grain breads or barley or anything like that. You can go gluten free if you need to, but it's very hard and very expensive. And just because a lot of times, like if you were to go get a pie or pastry at Whole Foods, something like that, and it's gluten free, many times it will actually have just as many or more calories than the regular kind. So it's not necessarily the way to do it. You may be
doing yourself a disservice if you don't really need to do it.
And paleo, again, I'm a big fan of dairy. If you look at a lot of people are going like almond milk versus dairy milk, but cow's milk has, yes, maybe you're only getting 30 calories versus 80 calories in dairy, cow's milk dairy, but you're actually getting almost no protein whatsoever compared to, so you're getting, and a lot of people will say sugar, but it's lactose, so our bodies don't process the lactose sugars the same way that they do fructose, for example. So I like dairy. I think yogurt has shown a lot of good health possibilities, as well as cheese and all kinds of things. It's a great way to go. So I'm not a big fan of paleo or Atkins or anything like that, because again, our bodies run on carbohydrates. A lot of times people who, back in the 90s when everybody was doing the Atkins and the no carb diet, sure, you lose a lot of weight because you're cutting out a huge portion of your main nutrition for any portion of time, but after a couple of months, first of all, it's gonna get old eating like bacon wrapped burgers forever. But then also, people usually get very angry because their mood, our brains run off that. Also, what's I think is funny is people complain about bad breath when they don't. And
I learned that. Oh my goodness, I was doing it for a while and I was like, what is my problem?
It's because it's actually, it's like the ketoacidosis, like your intestines are like eating themselves.
Yes.
That's right. So you have really bad breath.
Yeah.
And so not only are people don't want to be around you because you're not a happy person.
Then your breath smells.
That's right. So you may lose a little weight, but you're going to lose all your friends too.
That's a good way to look at it. So really, it's more about moderation and just really, people will overanalyze diet so much. This is just my personal opinion. We know what's right and wrong.
Exactly. And they do that every year, in January, they do the best diets, whatever. And usually everybody, I think they lose an average of 16 pounds, but then almost 95% of everybody gains it back at some point. So I think, you don't want to go fat free. You don't want to go low calorie. It's just about choosing the right ones, choosing the right fats. Fats are, vegetables, all the good things in vegetables are what's called fat soluble vitamins, which means you need a little bit of fat in order for your body to absorb them. So add a little bit extra virgin olive oil, add some walnuts, add some peanut butter.
Avocado.
Love exactly.
It.
Yeah. Add the good fats that are good. And then again, with the carbohydrates, just add in the good carbohydrates, the whole grains.
I live and die by meal planning because I'm a working mom.
Yes.
And we've got to have food on the table, and I can't afford to be running to the fast food place every day, and I don't want to be there. And this is something that you really stress to your clients.
Yes.
Food planning.
Yes, I have them keep a food diary. So you will basically keep, on one page you will have a plan, and if you have a family, sit down and plan. Okay, husband's got work, golf, whatever it happens to be, and then the kids have soccer and
play
softball
practice,
and all kinds of stuff. Exactly. And then you've got whatever you've got, and so on certain nights, okay, this night we're gonna have a full night where you can all cook together and sit down and have a meal. If not, okay, say on Sunday, whatever your plan and prep day is, you never want to go to the grocery store without a list and your plan. You set your meal plan, then write a list, then go to the grocery, and then when you come home, prep everything ahead of time, so that way you have, you have meals and snacks like the trail mix. You have that ready to grab. You can make Mexican lasagnas, or you can make vegetable lasagna and make them ahead of time, put them in the freezer, and then that way you've got, your ready-made meals that you can pull out on nights that okay, you're going to be at soccer practice, I'm going to be coming late from work, and that way you don't have to think about it.
Or use the crock pot too. I'm a big crock pot user.
Yes, yeah. You can do chili, and the good thing about a crock pot too is you can make a huge batch of it, and then what you don't eat that night, put in the freezer in little individuals, and that way you've got little frozen dinners, but that are homemade.
And you brought us some great pictures of different meals that are good for planning some different soups as well.
I think we've got some stuffed peppers, which I love, because it's just like chili and lasagnas and casseroles and things, I think usually get better with time, and the more they can kind of sit there. Yeah, that's the vegetable lasagna in the middle, and see, I put them in, instead of doing one big pan, you can put them in those individual loaf pans, and that way you have one to eat for dinner and then one to stick in the freezer.
Yep.
And that's what it looks like cut up, and I just think it's absolutely beautiful. You can use whatever, vegetables that you like. And then the stuffed peppers, and those work really good too, because you can just wrap them in foil and stick them in the freezer. Make a bunch, have your family eat 4 or 6 of them, but make some extras so that you stick them in the freezer and have them. And that just uses ground turkey and some brown rice and a little bit of maybe pizza sauce over top of them. And I love the colors too, because you can use green or orange or yellow or red, whatever, I like to mix them up. And those are perfect for family meals, and then again, making ahead. And then soups, I love soups because you can add, texture to them. You can add in some nuts or anything like that. The far left is just a homemade broccoli cheese, and it's amazing how easy it is to make soup and not get it from a can. And then the middle is just a tomato basil soup, and then on the right is a roasted butternut squash soup.
Ooh,
and
that sounds good.
Yeah, and it's I did a roasted butternut squash with Leland. I think it was Leland on Talk of the Town, and it is really, really good. And if you like sweet potatoes, you'll love butternut squash.
Yeah,
I think it's a little tangier than sweet potatoes, and I really like it.
And this is something good you can do when these vegetables are at peak, and then you freeze them.
Exactly, and the just like you do with broccoli, I mean, you can buy it really cheap now, but you could also do asparagus the exact same way. And make it, and it's really a fresh flavor that you could have instead of having salad. I'm not a big salad person all the time, and you can have soup. Yeah, you can have soup and maybe put a little, like, some whole grain croutons on top, or some sesame seeds, or some type of a nut.
I love this because you're not making the food boring.
Yeah. And it's, I think, colorful to know that food doesn't have to be intimidating, and it doesn't have to be gross.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be like, oh, rabbit food. It can be really delicious too.
That's good. Okay.
Yeah.
On that note, that we've probably made you hungry, which is a good
Dinner
thing.
time.
Yeah, we're gonna take a quick break. When we come back, more on Open Line. Stay with us.